For the morning, Reverend Debbie O'Donnell.
Oh, good morning. All right, I'm going to start with sharing a story. It's a true story. It's regarding Jim Carrey. Everybody knows Jim Carrey, the comedian, right? So he's got this natural talent. He's got this passion to make people laugh. He loves being dramatic. It's sort of his thing, and it's always been his thing. In fact, his parents would invite friends over when he was a child, and they would have him come up and be like the entertainment of the night. And he was really cool with that. And he quickly discovered that making people happy, making them laugh, it was what he was really good at. It's what made him happy and filled him with joy. But he also learned a valuable lesson from his father. And he says in a video, so many of us choose our path out of fear and disguised as practicality. My father could have been a great comedian. He was a funny guy. But he didn't believe that it was possible for him. So he made a conservative choice, a practical choice. He got a job as an accountant. He then goes on and tells the rest of his story, and then he says, here's the moral of the story. When I was 12, my father lost his safe job. We spent the rest of my childhood as a family doing whatever we could to survive. I learned a lot of great lessons from my father, not of least of which is that you can fail at what you don't want just as easily as what you do want. So take a chance and do what you love. Isn't that a great story? Yes. He's quite the new thoughter. In fact, Jim Carrey, when he graduated from college and decided to become an actor, he wrote himself out a check for $1 million. Put it in his wallet. And one day he cashed it. Isn't that kind of cool? So this month, we're talking about passion. We're talking about living our passion and being on purpose and allowing that place of joy and love to flow through us. So I haven't given him a heads up, but we can't spend a month talking about passion, following your dreams, even though it kind of makes no sense, without inviting our very own Mark to come up for a couple of minutes, because he is our ambassador of passion. So I'm going to turn the floor over to him for a few minutes to let you tell him what you did at the age of 19.
So my start was being a kid with dinky toys. And after I fixed a few of those and didn't have any way of motorizing them, I built a go-kart and different things. But when I joined the Peace Corps at 19, I decided I was going to do the best I could teaching school in Malaysia. And one of the ways I wanted to infect the local kids with a passion for mechanical objects was to get an old car and have them take it apart. So by having them involved in the process, they were sort of intimately watching the procedure as I rebuilt it in my school storeroom under the auspices of the headmaster, who said it's a good idea, and the Peace Corps staff thought it was a wonderful idea. And after 2 years, they made me a ministry advisor for industrial arts development in another state because I did so well. When I was 19, I didn't know what I was doing, and I often tell people I never knew what I was doing. I just lived into the process. And now my affirmation is, where it comes from, I don't know. I just know I'm in the flow. And because I have to give, that's where we all can live. So I give people jobs and I give people help when I can. But the ultimate thing is that you never know what's coming next if you have a positive attitude and a receptive personality. So when I took on the job of teaching in the Peace Corps, after a 3 months training, they said, well, would you like to teach in a Malay medium school? I said, sure, I'll do anything. Just give me a chance. So that's the way I welcomed my life saga, is taking a chance at anything I could do. And it's been wonderful. I won't even tell you the most recent things that have happened, but I find that people want to grow into participation if you've got a positive outlook and a receptive personality. So guys that come to work for me at the shop, most of them come because they want to be involved. You know, we're going out to Watkins Glen and Lime Rock next weekend, and the people that are taking the car for us want to be involved. So all of a sudden, I've got 10 people that are going to be my crew at the track. And I said, sure, I'll put you on the list. Come on along. So it's really a participation thing. So for me, life has been about welcoming the unexpected and taking an opportunity to do something different. So I'll tell you after we go to Lime Rock if they've all lived through the dream that I created. It's good for now.
Guided by spirit, living from a place of truth, being authentic. So we started off this month with identifying our passions and our purpose. Passions because we all have more than one, and they're always continuing to evolve. And we asked the question, and we talked about it during a fellowship, like, what did you want to be when you were a kid? You know, like, what was that thing outside of being an astronaut that we all wanted to do, right? And then last week, Reverend Joanne talked about cultivating our passions through percolation. You know, that it's not like, decide it, done. It's got to like percolate. It's got to like, as Mark said, you've got to be available. You've got to be welcoming. You've got to be willing to just like sit in it and take the steps that are being indicated. Allow your spiritual tools to support you and allow you to thrive and not survive while it's percolating. And so today, I'm going to talk about this little bitty, teeny tiny thing called self-acceptance. Because, let's face it, it's hard to live your passion. It's hard to be passionate when you're living from a place of should. I should. When you're living from a place of comparison, right? Comparing yourself to others. A place of judgment. Judging yourself. Oh, and by the way, judging others because they've got more, they do more, yada, 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 yada. When we challenge ourselves to live on point, on purpose, letting our passions kind of drive the car, then we're not living life like the average Joe. Even, I don't know, is there such a thing as an average Joe? I don't even know anymore, but there used to be. Ernest Holmes, our founder, said, if the spiritual universe is not perfect, it could not exist for a single moment. The truth is indivisible and whole. God is complete and perfect. If God is complete and perfect, and if all there is God, if we are all made in the image and the likeness, if it is moving through us, with us, and as us always, then we're imperfectly perfect, or perfectly imperfect, depending on how you want to look at it. We're perfectly human, and in our humanness, there is a natural sense of joy, of love, and passion. Even if that passion is just a passion to be still and quiet, it's a passion. And it is that passion, it is that imperfectly perfectness of us that makes us unique, makes us ourselves, makes us part of the human fabric of life. Brené Brown. Because true belonging only happens when we present our authentic and perfect selves to the world, our sense of belonging can never be greater than our level of self-acceptance. So how much of you do you accept as you? As divine, as perfect, as whole, as complete joy in action. Every aspect of each and every one of us is that. So for me, what stands in the way of me being authentic? What stands in the way of me saying, yeah, I'm living my passion, kind of boils down to a couple of things: self-doubt, judgment, comparison, and let us not forget fear, worry, and doubt, right? It's kind of like what sort of shows up. What do you mean you want to be different? You want to be unique? What do you mean you can do that? And I also believe that's why we're here in this community, because this community honors that uniqueness, that individuality. Every Sunday, we honor the multiple paths to that one. We're not the only ones who have it right around here. It's not just our way or the highway. We, every single one of us who gathers in this community, does so because we celebrate everybody else's uniqueness. We're curious as to how we can support everyone else's dreams and desires and passions. And I am saying right here and right now, now's the time to start supporting our own, as well as opening up the door and allowing others to support us. Because we're all one. And when one of us steps out in our unique way and does something glorious, it's just a way shower for others. That's it. It's not like some grand gesture. Just you being you and me being me, and me accepting you and you accepting me, that right there, that's a purpose. It's called love. And it allows our passions to come forth. But instead of looking at from a place of oneness, when I'm looking at a place from judgment, a place of comparison, I am putting up this wall. Do you see how that wall happens? It's a wall because it starts to separate me from my good. When we compare ourselves to others, we're separating ourselves from others. We're separating ourselves from God. When in fact, we're really never ever separated. We're just shutting off the flow. That's it. We're just saying, too busy in my ego. Don't need any of that good mojo. I'm comparing myself to that person, and I'm not leveling up. So now I'm going to do crazy stuff, right? For me, anyway, it's usually crazy stuff because I've got to do better. I've got to do more. I've got to control it, right? But in reality, no. We don't need to do any of that because the truth is that the universe, that one intelligence, it delights in expressing itself as you, as me. It delights in seeing all of it, the good, the bad, the never to be named again. It delights in all of that because all of that put together is this wonderful thing called being human. We're always growing, we're always changing, we're always expanding. It's the natural way of the world, of the universe. Science proves it over and over and over again. And what stops us is our shoulds. What stops us, I believe, is our comparison. Because for me, when I get to that place of comparison, I know I'm at a place of separation, and then I tend to stop too soon. You know that feeling where you've got this dream, you've got this purpose, you've got this thing, and you're doing everything you need to do to get there, but all of a sudden you're judging and you're comparing, and then, oh, I'm crazy. Why am I even going here? And I stop just short. And I'm not going to say short of the miracle because I don't really believe in miracles. I stop just short of the reality of the goal, of the win. We tend to yield to our fears, worries, doubts, judgments, and comparisons. We yield to those. We yield to society and stop ourselves short of what is ours already at the level of spirit, right? I mean, if I have a desire, a dream, an intention, a goal, put a name to it, it's already mine. It's already yours. With everything you need ready to align. Because if not, you wouldn't have it. It would be somebody else's. But this is yours. And only you can do it the way you do it. And that's true for every single one of us. It is only our unique sets of imperfections that will allow this, whatever this is, to come forward. And when we start to celebrate that, those imperfections, those quirks, those things that probably annoyed your parents growing up, you know those things, right? It is those things that as adults we now get to celebrate. We get to be proud of them. And we get to put them to good use, allowing our life to unfold as our life, knowing that that seed of perfection is always growing. It's always growing. It's just whether we're nurturing that growth or not. I am here to tell you that each and every one of us is good enough. I'm here to tell you the truth that there is no limited supply. You can have all of the good and all of the love and all of the money and all of the glory, and you know what? There's still more. It doesn't rob me of any of it. So playing small isn't helping the world. It isn't helping anyone else become more of who they are. Also, I want to share with you that we are never alone. We are always in that divine guidance. There's always guideposts if we are willing to take time to look at them. And that even in failure, there is opportunity. There's a software company called Intuit, and they actually have a special award for the best failure. And they give it out quarterly. The co-founder, Scott Cook, states, every failure teaches something important that can be the seed for the next great idea. There's also quarterly rewards at Google for the people making the biggest mess-ups. Think about it. Intuit and Google. They celebrate failure because, why? Because they honor creativity. And when you're creative and when you're following your heart and your passion, and it's not like written down, right? There's no map. When there's no map, you're going to get lost. You're going to mess up. You're going to make mistakes. But guess what? We're all right here to celebrate it with you. And that's what it's about. That's the idea of community, is that it becomes safe to move outside of our comfort zone, to not have a map, to not worry about out there, right? But just to move forward in here. Moving from that place of surviving to that place of thriving, to absolute thriving. You know, all of us have some old beliefs that are no longer serving us, right? But a belief is simply a thought that we keep having over and over again. And we're at choice of letting go of those beliefs, no longer having that thought, and stepping into mindfully living our life. Mindfully looking at the guideposts. And mindfully being that divine expression, unique and individual as it is. So I want to talk about a couple of things from how to stay in that zone of passion. And none of these are new. In fact, a lot of these you're already doing. But I believe it's important when it comes to certain spiritual tools, I don't think we can hear it enough. Number one, self-reflection. To be authentic, you've got to reflect on who you are, what you value, your own uniqueness. There's nothing wrong with a list of your glories. You know, we make lists all the time, right? What we're going to buy, where we're going to go, what we're going to do. We've all got lists upon lists upon lists. Oh, the lists I have of closets to clean. But do we have a list of how wonderful we are? Like, that's a long list. Think about it. And when we start recognizing that God stamp of our perfections as imperfections, that God stamp, man, we can go anywhere. Which takes me to that idea of self-awareness. To notice throughout the day and the evening, what makes me compare myself? Who am I hanging out with that takes me to that place of comparison? What am I doing that opens me up to being judgmental of myself and others? To take a look at where I go and who I'm with when I move from that place of joy and love to that place of fear and dread and not enoughness. Because once we're aware of it, then we get to make another choice. Do I get to hang out with those people anymore? Or do they get to hang out with me anymore? More like it. And how do I take that judgment and that comparison and turn it around to a place of being understanding and compassionate? Thoughts, we know, are very powerful creations, right? What we think about is what comes about. And that's true when we're judging others. When we're judging others, we're kind of judging ourselves. We're setting ourselves up for that same thing. When we're comparing to others, we're setting ourselves up for our own insecurities to be compared. So through self-awareness, we can stop setting ourselves up. Stop beating ourselves up. And then let's set some intentions. I don't know about you guys, but setting an intention in the morning, if you're not doing it, try it for a week. Just try it. When we set an intention, it's, for me, I consider an intention like putting God on notice. This is, okay, here's what we're doing today. Dude, this is it. This is my intention for this day. So get ready, start lining things up, because this is how it's going to unfold. God, wouldn't it be great if it's that simple? Huh? Yeah, it is that simple. We just need to get out of our own heads. Which takes us to that place of practicing gratitude. We talked last month about practicing gratitude, not only writing it down, not only thinking about it, but speaking it. Speaking it. Probably not while brushing your teeth, but while you're taking a shower. Just speaking gratitude. That energy, that vibration, it goes up just by speaking gratitude. And then the last thing I believe that we can do is just to be kind to ourselves. When we're kind to ourselves, our passions naturally kind of show up for us, I think. Just being kind to ourselves. Giving ourselves a time out to just be happy. A time out for no reason. Just being kind to ourselves and recognizing that we are always a choice. Sure, there's stuff we have to do. You know, life is life, and there's things we have to do we don't care to do. And there's people we need to be around that we don't really want to be around. And there's jobs that we have that are not really the greatest passion of our life now. But what if we treated it like it was? What if we treated an ordinary job like that extraordinary job? What if we treated that pain in the you-know-what as a glorious example of what not to be or do, right? What if we just celebrated all of it? How would life look different? We are in charge of our life, and it's a grand tapestry. And like every tapestry, it tends to look messy. And the colors tend to not really match up sometimes. But when we look back on it, we can see how it's just sort of unfolding in its own unique and divine pattern. And your tapestry and my tapestry is all part of the great experiment called life. It's our one-of-a-kindness, it's our uniqueness that allows us to celebrate our passion, that allows us to celebrate and honor everyone else's passion, that allows us to live life from that place of delight, knowing, think about this, God's is in delight of being able to provide us exactly what we want. It's not a job, it's a delight. So, my call to action for all of us this week is to move out of comparison, move out of judgment, move into that place of unlimited supply and possibility, to honor and celebrate oneself, to honor and celebrate each other. Because with that, and we add to it some affirmations, we can really soar high. And that's when, at that level of soaring, that's when we start to attract more of what it is that we want, more of that passion, more of that understanding, more of that respect. So, when one of those thoughts of judgment, one of those flashes of comparison show up, I invite you to acknowledge it. Let it go because it's no longer serving a purpose in your world. And let's replace it with an affirmation of love, an affirmation of truth. I love Louise Hay used to have she had a theme song, and I promise you I will not sing it because I respect you guys. But but it goes kind of like this: I love myself the way I am, and still I want to change. Right? I love myself. And I know that change outside can only happen when change inside happens. The song goes on to say, I'm beautiful, I'm capable of being the best me I can be, and I love myself just the way I am. I love myself today. It's a great little ditty, but yeah. And it has much more impact when you sing it. But let's go there. Let's live from that place. Let's live from that place. I'm going to close with a couple of things. First, I want to start with a prayer. You guys ready for that? So I invite you just to breathe in with me and acknowledge that oneness, that universal intelligence, that one creative energy, that one power, that one knower, that one that delights. And right here and right now, I invite you to join me in commanding that delight. Commanding that delight to express itself as love, as joy, as peace, as an expression of the heart. I am now willing to be willing to move beyond any idea of comparison. I am now ready to be ready to expect and accept all of my desires and passions. And in this moment, I say yes to what is already unfolding in its wonderfully wild and crazy unique ways, knowing that it is not only for my highest best, but for the highest and the best of the planet, because we are all one. And I celebrate that truth. I give thanks for it. I know that God is doing the heavy lifting, and I say, and so it is. All right, I invite you to join me as we affirm this together. I will move out of the way. In this sacred moment, I invite you to say the following with me. I am a unique expression of the divine. I embrace my individuality with love and acceptance. My passions are the guidelights that lead me to my life purpose. I am aligned with the creative energy of the universe as I follow my passions. I am open to receiving the abundance that flows from living authentically and passionately. And then, this from Raymond Charles Barker. The goodness of life is the goodness of God. I now release all emotional power from any and all guilt in my subconscious mind. I am set free of all judgment and self-condemnation.